WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV. After a pleasant and lovely week off, we are back. I'm Judd Hickenbotham. Mr. Morgan Lee over there. He's the sports editor for AccessNorthGA.com. How you doing? How was your vacation? How'd everything go?
Good. Pretty good.
You get sunburnt?
No, I didn't. I managed to lather on enough sunscreen. I did get a little bit of a tan, but no burns.
Morgan was at the beach. I was slaving away trying to figure out what to talk about for this show this week, so that's why it's going to be all messy. We have a pretty big announcement coming up as far as this show is concerned, at least over the next few weeks, which we'll discuss. We will be talking some baseball. The trade deadline is coming up. What should the Atlanta Braves do? But let's start with football. You can kind of almost smell the pigskin. Or is that bacon from the break room? I'm not sure, one or the other. All right, so you have training camp coming up for college. Georgia Tech and Georgia both getting started next week. We'll mention that. But let's start with it's not training camp for high school, is it? It's just practice.
Yeah, it's just fall practice.
Fall practice.
Yeah, August 1st, fall practice, baby.
Okay. Fall practice is, it's the official name for it. And so I guess everybody's thinking of the fall at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering I was typing up all these schedules and most teams will be more than halfway done by the end of September, it seems kind of strange to think of football as a fall event. It's almost a summer thing now.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people always say there's no off-season in football, and that's kind of the case, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely the case.
Yeah. So, all right. So everything gets started. Is that GHSA rules that August 1st, bang, that's when you can get started?
August 1st is the first day that you can officially hold, full contact fall practices. I mean, there'll be. School doesn't start till August 8th, so we'll find out if, I'm sure there'll be teams going 2 days, 3 days, whatever.
Are you allowed? Do you know as far as the rules are with that? Like how much can you really practice these kids and that kind of thing? Can you do a 3-a-day?
It's a good question. I mean, I will definitely find that out on Monday.
Because they have rules. I mean, we've seen the last few years they've had rules as far as, especially the early games, having water on the field, having water breaks, that kind of thing, and kind of protecting the players and their health and that kind of thing. And I'm figuring there's got to be some kind of rule as far as
there's definitely rules and regulations involved. I mean, we are talking about a governing body.
Yeah.
Not quite as officious as the NCAA, but certainly there's rules involved. I'm not sure of the amount of actual time that you're allowed, but I do know that you can run 2 days. You can. I'm not sure. I know there are now rules governing. There's supposed to be mandatory water breaks. I think every 20 minutes,
something like that.
But since I'm going out and interviewing all these coaches over the next few days, it's certainly something I can ask.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, I mean, what's the next week going to be like for you? Because this is when Morgan really starts getting gray hairs, when he starts losing some of the hair, getting wrinkles and that kind of thing. Because this is for, I think, every sports editor in the country, this is it, right? Starting with fall practice. You got 3 weeks, and it's just a sprint to kind of get everything out there. We got plenty of schools to cover this year.
Absolutely. Over the next 3 weeks, I will be attempting to get feature preview stories written up about 30 different area high school teams.
30.
Including, doing some more audiovisual stuff, of which you kind of mentioned. It's a little crazy. I do have a slight amount of help from one Jeff Hart, but, how much help can Hart ever be?
He's not here to defend himself.
No.
But you're right. Yeah.
No, but
30 teams to cover.
Yeah.
Our buddy Gene Anderson was. I remember when there were 3 teams in the entire state, and we just played each other. Okay. So, that leads to our little announcement. So we've been doing this 30-minute show since what was it? Middle of the high school season last year, high school football season.
Pretty early in the season, I think.
Yeah. So we are going to, for the next 3 weeks, starting next week, we're expanding to an hour. And we're going to have a whole bunch of the coaches either in studio or going to go out and we're going to record some interviews with them as well, because we got some good, likable coaches, good quotable coaches that and things are getting started. This is when the coaches when they get all their little cliches out there, 110% and everything else. And
yeah,
no, we really do love
one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So next week, we will be having an expanded hour-long show for next week, the week after, and the week after, all leading up to the high school football season for 2011. Because I don't know anybody that really covers high school sports really the way we do. If I may toot our horn a little bit.
Getting as many teams in and as thoroughly, I think, as we at least attempt to do. No, I think it sets a precedent. So. We'll see how well we do it this year, but I was pretty pleased with the way things went last year.
We call it covering as much as we can. The coaches say we might be a little annoying, but that's fine. That's exactly what we want to be. We want to get them in the studio. So that's going to be starting next week. We will be expanding to an hour show, and then once the season starts, I have to wait and see. We might have another announcement there as well. All right, let's move on to college real quick. So Georgia Tech and Georgia both get started with their training camps next week. Tech on Wednesday, I believe. Is that right?
Wednesday.
And Georgia will get started on Thursday in Athens. As far as Georgia Tech, I mean, okay, between Georgia and Georgia Tech, who has more questions to kind of answer as far as the practice is concerned leading up to the season?
More questions to answer. Frankly, I think it. I don't know. I would almost say Tech.
Yeah, I would say Tech too.
Yeah, just because Georgia, you know what you've got, and as far as your quarterback, you know what you've got, and as far as your your starting offensive line. Anyway, it'll be interesting if anybody gets hurt. God forbid it'll get real ugly. But
right.
And then defensively, you pretty much know everything that you've got. Assuming Jarvis Jones is good to go from the get go.
And practice isn't going to be as far as it's never really tough to motivate college players, I guess, once they get on the practice field. But as far as the way Georgia's season starts, motivation's not going to be a problem.
I mean, they've been killing themselves all offseason with the knowledge of those first two games right out of the gate are going to, I'm not going to say break your season, but they certainly could make it.
It could. The Boise game is, in the Georgia Dome. If you have thoughts of a, national title, that kind of thing, then that game is definitely a major point. The South Carolina game's really, really the important one, the second game.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been saying for months now that I would gladly, as much as it would be embarrassing to lose to Boise State, I would gladly take a loss in that game if it meant beating South Carolina.
You're such an SEC fan. It's not embarrassing to lose to Boise State. They're a national power.
I know they're a national power, but I mean, again, they don't play in a conference that challenges them week after week, right. So it's still perception is that Boise is not an SEC team.
At one point, Boise State will be a part of the Pac-20.
Yeah, 58, whatever.
No, I'm with you. I think Georgia Tech has more questions. When you look at Georgia Tech, their defense, I think, at least at the beginning of the season, there's less question marks. They have some more veteran leaders out there for Georgia Tech on defense, which I think should set them up pretty well because you got a guy like Paul Johnson that he knows how to take, I hate to say it, 3-star talent, 2 or 3-star talent if you want to go by the how they kind of rate these high school players, but and make something out of an offense. And so you don't know who the starting quarterback is. You really don't know who the feature back is. You don't know who the wide receiver is going to be. I mean, the three big positions, the offensive line looks pretty good. So you got to figure out who all those guys are behind the line. So Tech definitely has more questions, and so I think practice leading up to the season is going to be very interesting down there in North Carolina.
Yeah, I certainly think just after reading the transcripts and hearing about what happened up at ACC Media Days with the Paul Johnson, and his typical, strong PR. That's that guy's strong.
I think the word smarmy. How about that?
I don't know about smarmy. He's just really.
I love the attitude. He gives just enough attitude without. I don't know. I mean, I guess he comes off like a jerk, but I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a football coach.
I would just say, a little high and mighty sometimes.
There you go. That's fine. Which Tech has not really had too many of those guys.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I will tell you as a non-Tech fan, the reason I think that would get a lot of people annoyed is because it's not like, I mean, yes, he had success, but then initially, and then it turns out that success has gotten stripped away. So I think a lot of people are kind of turned off by that kind of thing. What have you got to be high and mighty about?
Well, I mean, it's true, and I think the next couple of years is really going to kind of tell because everybody said they won the conference, and they won the conference, by the way. With Chan Gailey's players. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can bring in and what he can do. I like the little bit of attitude. And I'll say this. He took, I believe they said 18 straight questions about all that stuff as far as that was concerned. I think that's plenty. At some point, you got to be like, I'm not answering any more questions.
Yeah, it's definitely plenty. It was just, and he could have, if he wanted to, he could have just immediately gotten them and said, okay, I'll take 1 or 2 questions about that, and then that's it. But, I think it's just... it's just his personality. I think he kind of wanted to be a little terse and tetchy,
exactly.
For a while, just because I think he enjoys it. Frankly,
people talk about Mark Richt kind of being on the hot seat. I think that seat's get a little warmer. I think Paul Johnson could be on the same seat a year from now if things don't really work out for me.
Yeah, certainly a possibility.
We'll wait and see. A lot more questions than answers, which is fine. That's what's beautiful about this time of year. All right, so we'll move on. We'll come back. You ready to talk some baseball?
Sure.
I know you've been thinking all week about it. All right, we'll continue with WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV. What should the Braves do as we head toward the trade deadline that's on the way?
Public notice. A massive $2 million warehouse liquidation is underway at the furniture store. Tons of merchandise has been trucked in from manufacturers' warehouses, and it's all selling at extreme drastic price cuts. Hurry, it's first come, first save, and once it's gone for good at the furniture store in Canton and...
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV rolling along here just a few weeks from the start of high school football season. Again, big announcement starting next week, and for the next 3 weeks starting next week, we'll be expanding to an hour show. We're going to be talking with a lot of the high school football coaches and figuring out what how their mindset is going into the season. Had a lot of success last year with high school football in general, some good local teams doing some good things, and we'll see how it works out. So Morgan Lee over there, he does a lot more work than I do as far as getting ready for the high school football season is concerned. I'm Judd Hickenbotham. All right, we talk football, and we'll continue to talk football, and maybe we'll try to sneak some Falcons in here in a minute. But the Atlanta Braves went 19 innings the other day. Is that the worst call you've ever seen in your life? Did you see how that game ended?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, I didn't see it live because, frankly, I do have to sleep sometime.
Right. But you were waiting until like 1 in the morning or something to post something.
Yeah, when it went to like
Access.
inning 16, I was like, you know what, I'm going to bed. No, I did see the replay and the low light of the blown call, and it was absolutely horrendous. And if I were a Pirates fan, I'd have been. I would like to say I'd be, horrified, but being a Pirates fan, I guess I'd probably be used to it, so maybe I wouldn't be quite as upset as I think I might be.
Something about playing in Atlanta, I don't understand. Sid Bream sliding into home.
Yeah, at least that was, a close call.
That's a good point. This one wasn't even a close call, but I'll take it. Being a Braves fan, I'll absolutely take it. I said yesterday, it's reminiscent of the Jasper Sanks fumble call and the Georgia Tech game.
Very, very similar.
Back in the day,
very
it's
similar.
Like, what? You had your eyes closed, right? Like you passed out, something? I don't understand. All right, so the trade deadline's coming up. Do you get excited about the trade deadline? I mean, I think baseball does it better than any other sport. I don't think they do it that way. It's just kind of how it's set up.
Right.
You got teams that are kind of ready to make that stretch run. Somebody like the Atlanta Braves trying to figure out what they want to give up and what they need going in the final 2 months.
Yeah, it is kind of a cool facet of the season. I'll be interested to see what the Braves can pull off. Obviously, it seemed like their first option has gone the way of San Francisco. So, I'd heard rumblings about possibly trying to package something together for 100 pence, which would be excellent. But I just I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's kind of, I don't know if those were just rumors or not. Astros say they're probably going to hold on to 100 pence. The thing with Carlos Beltran you mentioned, because he is with San Francisco now, trading in your own division just gives me that queasy feeling. I mean, I just don't like it. And it's what the Mets wanted was good young pitching, which is what the Braves definitely have. But you don't want to trade them somebody like Mike Minor, one of the really good pitchers that the Braves have, and then watch that guy just shove it down your throat for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted nothing to do with Carlos Beltran. So it's going to be very interesting. The Braves, they need a bat. They need a right-handed bat, preferably in the outfield, and they need a right-handed reliever. I don't know how much it's going to cost to get either one of those. I guess it depends how big you want to get.
Yeah.
What the Braves seem to do is you're talking about this player, that player, which player should they get, and then bang, they come up with something out of nowhere, like a Dan Uggla, like a Fred McGriff back in the day. I think that's the best example of a trade deadline move that just worked beautifully.
Sure.
So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's going to be interesting. I think the Braves are going to make a couple of moves.
Well, absolutely. I think Frank Wren has shown over his fairly short tenure so far that he's pretty good at wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
So if something's going to happen, I think it'll be for the best. The question is just what's out there and what you want to give up. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what day now is the deadline. How many days away?
It's the 31st. Is that Sunday? I think it's Sunday. And
yes,
they moved it to 4
Sunday.
p.m. I think it used to be like 11 p.m. or midnight or something. So they moved to the afternoon, so things are a little more interesting. I remember the year they got B.J. Surhoff. What a good year that was.
Yes.
Not really. All right, we got one more break. We'll come back. And speaking of wheeling and dealing, the Falcons are right in the middle of doing a whole bunch of wheeling and dealing. I would imagine they are. Got to make some moves. And a very strange situation. The NFL lockout, everything is over. Now players are just floating around in the air all over the place and waiting for somebody to snag
6 months of work in 4 days.
That's exactly right. We'll wrap things up after this. WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV.
Public notice. A massive $2 million warehouse liquidation is underway at the furniture store. Tons of merchandise has been trucked in from manufacturers' warehouses, and it's all selling at extreme drastic price cuts. Hurry, it's first come, first save, and once it's gone for good at the furniture store in Canton and...
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Wrapping things up, WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV with high school practice getting started Monday, and then training camps. Or is it training camps for college?
It's fall camp for college,
Fall
too.
camp for college, exactly. I guess it's just training camp for the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Training camp is getting ready to get started. They're shuffling around down in Flowery Branch. All right, with the last couple minutes we have, put yourself in Thomas Dimitrov's shoes, which is tough to do because he is absolutely cooler than either one of us.
Yeah, and
he might be the coolest guy in the entire state of Georgia, by the way.
I'm imagining his shoes are probably smaller than my feet, too. So.
they might be, but still, he's cooler than us. All right, what do the Falcons need? What do they need to do with all these players? I mean, it's insane. I have a feeling the money is maybe going to get a little crazy. I'm not sure. To be honest, I didn't read how everything worked with the lockout. I guess all I know is the rookies kind of got messed around in the deal as far as how much money they can make.
Well, yeah, they're the amount of money that they're going to make has been decreased significantly, but only really the top level earners, top wage earners that have been the $60 million bonuses and such that have been going into to top number one draft picks like Matt Stafford. That is gone the way of the dodo, at least for now.
Yeah.
But no, as far as the Falcons go, their biggest area of concern at this point is the offensive line. They've got 3 free agents that they're trying to re-sign. It looks like signing two of them would be pretty significant. I know Tyson Clabo, the offensive tackle, is kind of their main point of concern right now. And I heard an interview with him yesterday in which he pretty much said that he didn't come out and say that he was giving the Falcons the biggest chance to keep him. But he did talk about, Atlanta's his home, his kids are going to school here, et cetera, et cetera.
They always say that.
Yeah.
And then they sign with Seattle or something.
Yeah. I guess at this point it just depends on how much money someone's going to throw at him.
Right.
If you want to believe the wise guys, there's you can gamble on just about anything, and all the wise guys apparently have Tyson Clabo staying with the Falcons.
Yeah.
The other two questions, Harvey Dahl and Justin Blaylock, are the two other guys that you're trying to decide. You can probably keep one and not the other. Mm-hmm. Two big offensive linemen who played a key role last year and the year before that. It sounds like just in little bits and pieces I've heard that Blaylock's probably on his way out. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm with you. I think Clabo is the number one target, and I think they need somebody on the defensive line because you have John Abraham. You need somebody on the other side.
Yeah, and people have been talking about, hey, they should go and get Charles Johnson from the Panthers. Well, he just re-signed with the Panthers for a huge amount of money.
Yeah,
he did have a great season last year. I'm not sure that, especially in this short of a window that you have, that you necessarily want to go, just splashing a ton of cash out for somebody who's had one really great season. I think Charles Johnson's going to be a year in, year out, Pro Bowl type of player. But I just don't know that it's the smartest business model at this point. And the Falcons, I think it's pretty clear that they're going to run themselves, in a Patriot type of mode.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be interesting to see what the Falcons do. And it's good to be talking football as well.
Absolutely.
Once again, starting next week, we'll be going to an hour on this particular show, and you can find out everything you want about high school football for the 2011 season. Next week, accessnorthga.com on the sports section, Morgan will post exactly when the show is going to be, right?
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Scott McIntyre, thank you so much. We appreciate it. There he is, ladies, in all his glory. We'll talk to you next week. WDUN Sports Talk on WDUN TV.